The Cigar Nerds Podcast.
And welcome to Cigar Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Smokin' Joe, and once again, where in the world is Brad San Diego? I don't know, somewhere else. So, since we're talking about Damsel today, we've brought in our own Damsel, the Ginger Avenger. Welcome
Try
back.
Again. We didn't discuss this line prior to recording.
Does that mean you need someone to rescue you?
Fuck no. Well, for myself maybe, but that's your job. I got a signed paper in the house that says you have to fully come rescue me from my own bullshit.
I'm a little Tamagotchi.
There's a receipt. You motherfucker. You motherfucker.
Oh. So, this week, we are smoking the Diesel Vantage Series.
We ain't doing shit.
Is that not what's in your hand, dum-dum?
Oh.
Yeah, we're smoking the
Wait a
Vintage
minute.
Diesel.
This is not what I asked for.
I don't care what you asked for. This is what we're reviewing, so I got two of them. See, that's what happens when you come on the show. You got to review a cigar.
It's too
I know it's been a couple
for
months.
This shit. I didn't even realize I was smoking something else. Jesus Christ.
Yes, this is has a Mexican San Andreas wrapper over Esteli Habano binder and Jalapa Habano fillers.
Well, it's not bad. I'm not complaining. But no, I didn't even aware. I wasn't even aware.
It's supposed to be a full-bodied smoke, so yeah, we're gonna test your limits today. We'll see if
Dude, I gotta go to a meeting after this. This is not.
this will get you fired up for your meeting. You'll be all caffeinated and nicotated.
It's not kosher, man. Not kosher.
So as we mentioned previously, this week we're talking about the new Netflix. I don't even want to call it a fantasy movie. It's more of a medieval horror movie, Damsel, starring, 11 from Stranger Things. And if you've got to fight off a dragon, you should call in the Strike Force. StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use your promo code Cigar Nerds for 20% off your order. Get all caffeinated and nicotated too.
You gotta fight off a dragon. You gotta fight off a fucking blonde bitch. That ain't hard to do. I'm good at that shit.
Alrighty then.
Never mind. I guess it might have been a spoiler. I don't know. I'm freezing my balls off in here, man. I'm cold and I'm under caffeinated.
Oh.
And I don't even know what the hell I'm smoking. I'm in trouble.
Well,
I need
as
an
I've
adult.
already said, we're smoking the Diesel Vintage. How do you like it so far?
Considering I didn't know what it was, it's not bad. I usually don't like the dark shit like you do. But
Well, according to their notes, you should get tasting notes of cocoa, pepper, leather, and hazelnut. We'll see
maybe
if that's
hazelnut, because maybe that's what I'm tasting.
We'll see if that's true as we go along
Because
here.
it does taste. There is a little bit of a sweet, and it's kind of. I guess that's why I thought I was smoking a fucking.
Well, this thing with
There is kind of a sweet to it that I'm catching, or maybe I'm just.
with Maduro darker cigars, there is usually a hint of sweetness. It's just not a sugary sweetness like some of your flavored cigars. It's more of a kind of a dark chocolate.
I thought I had a
natural
fucking
sweetness.
acid in my mouth, so.
No, there's definitely different because I've gotten desperate and smoked one of your acids before. I'm like, this is a fucking candy bar. This is not a cigar.
Yes, it's candy bar in nicotine form. That makes it better.
No.
Yes, it does. You're wrong.
But with that, we're going to stop this argument and start arguing about a movie. We'll be right back with the main topic. And we're back. It's time to get medieval on your ass.
Fuck yes, it's always time to get medieval. Give me a mace or, trebuchet. Trebuchet?
Yeah, trebuchet. That's correct. That's the thing that slings things, not the catapult.
Give me that shit all day long.
We should build a trebuchet.
It's funny you say that because
There's plenty of instructions on the internet of how to build a trebuchet.
there's actually somebody supposed to be building me one right now. I'm not gonna lie.
I've seen you can order model kits like tabletop trebuchets that But I want one to chunk a car. Yeah.
Or I think he's building one for somebody that I know. Mike's friend is building him one, and I think he's gonna build me a guillotine. Just small model size, obviously, but working.
Hey, if the blade works, you could use it as a cigar cutter.
Decapitate Barbies.
Like I said, a freaking guillotine, a literal guillotine cigar cutter would be
cool.
would be pretty awesome.
He's also trying to find me another hearse, just so you know.
Okay, that's a conversation for not on the podcast.
Why?
Because no one else fucking cares.
It's relevant information to me.
But I mean, even when Brad's here, we have this problem where we don't see each other for weeks, so it's like, we end up like catching up while we're freaking trying to record. So it's like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be talking about this movie, and we just went down this fucking rabbit hole talking about some side quest we're discussing. Oh yeah, I forgot
I think
we're
in our
recording a
case,
show.
it's more like we're discussing the day-to-day runnings every day of running the household, and this is a chance to just sit down and goof off. Or at least that's how it works for me. But then that's how my brain works. So, trebuchet, guillotine, hearse. It connects. I don't know how or why, but it does.
So yes, we are talking about Damsel. They describe it as a dark fantasy, but yeah, when I first saw the trailer for this, I'm like, oh, it's some kind of period medieval Dungeons and Dragons-y shit, and then I sat down to watch it, and I was like, oh damn, this is almost a horror movie.
Is it though? I mean, why? Okay, from your perspective, why would you consider it horror? I don't think there's not a lot of gratuitous.
I mean, there's different genres of horror. They're not all Friday the 13th slasher. There's psychological, there's paranormal, it's almost like discussing metal bands. There's a ton of fucking different genres.
Yeah.
Where this one starts off very much like a traditional, and we'll
Snow
get into
White.
more of, like a fantasy type film. But then, spoiler alert, once girl gets dropped in the dragon's maze, it's very much like a dark, or like the dragon's like a straight up freaking serial killer stalking its prey, and it's like,
Well, yeah, okay.
I mean, it's very much like the movie of the last girl being hunted by the unstoppable killer with no help or any resources. I mean, it's like,
Okay, I'll give you that. I didn't really look at it that way, but yeah, I'll give you that. That makes sense to me. And then, of course, we find out the dragon's not really all that bad. Just kind of pissed off.
angry.
Well, I don't want to go ahead and blow it early on, but some things are motivating. Some things are motivating in ways you don't expect.
I mean, or you could say this is Die Hard in a cave.
No. No, it's not.
Loses her shoes, has to walk across glass.
I don't think she ever had shoes, honestly, in this movie. I don't think she ever had.
Yeah, she had heels. I mean, she was a princess, technically.
For a minute and a half.
And that, hey, here's my evidence of why this is Die Hard in a cave.
Okay, I'm gonna need to hear this.
John
Make
McClane
it
always
good.
starts off like fully like clothed, and by the end of it, he's half his clothes is ripped off, and he's super dirty.
Yeah.
He ends up losing his shoes and walking across sharp things.
Fair point.
And I'm pretty sure somebody gets tossed off a building.
He tosses himself off a couple of those buildings. That doesn't count. By a fire hose.
It's always got to be the hose.
Here we go. Come on. I'm awake now. Let's go.
I mean, I do like how it started with like the VO of like, there's tons of movies about damsels in distress being rescued by a prince. This is not that movie.
I'm starting to think she writes that into her contracts that she gets to monologue somewhere, because both of the Enola Holmes movies she monologues too.
Well, it's like Sherlock Holmes. It's told from their perspective,
You break
so you
that
get the
fourth
VO.
wall and monologue to the audience, or no, maybe that's the third wall because they're not actually looking at it. I don't know. I make this shit up.
It's
as
the
I go
inner
along.
monologue. It's comic booky. It's the comic
Yeah.
book trope of the inner monologue. But yeah, you get that in regular Sherlock Holmes movies and books. It's the only way you can kind of decipher what to the outside world looks like magic when it's just high intellect.
There's lots of restaurant staff meetings. This is not one of those meetings. Of course, everything gets fucked when I show up anyway, so it's not really unusual.
So yeah, starring, as we said, Millie Bobby Brown, a.k.a. 11.
That's my bitch. I like her.
Written by, and weird name, Elodie. It's like melody without the M.
Yeah, I was wondering if someone in there just...
That's how it's spelled too. It's Elodie.
Well, that's fine.
So yeah, she's kind of a.
You notice when it got to the scene where the old girls' names were listed and she's reading them off, a couple of them she skipped because she couldn't even read those ones.
Like, who the fuck is that? But yeah, so basically she's the. I don't know if they were like royalty of a poor kingdom or if they were just some kind of like estate.
Well, it was.
Whatever's under a king, like a guy who owns
lord.
like they call him lord. So he's like kind of has a territory.
Yeah, he's a lord. He's got his own region of people and reports to a king. That's how, medieval hierarchy goes. But you can't marry a prince to anyone that is not some level of nobility or royalty. So you can't marry below lords and ladies, basically.
Yeah. So in their particular kingdom, the looks like the weather's not great, and they're kind of running low on supplies, and it's they're having a hard time feeding their people, and creepy nun lady shows up and it's like, hey, I'm looking for to arrange some marriages because my prince needs some outside the kingdom family. They usually do that to cut down on the inbreeding.
Yeah, because they figure out eventually that kids come out with 3 eyeballs and no ears, and you can't keep marrying cousins forever. Shit goes wrong.
So her father agrees to marry her off just because, like.
Well, the bride price is what they're after. Her dowry.
Yeah.
Or well, not her dowry.
No,
Her
dowry.
dowry.
The dowry is usually they
dowry
pay
would be
to the.
paid by the family. Her bride price would be paid by somebody trying to buy her, basically.
So yeah, they're trying to. Like, we need an influx of cash, and you're gonna have to take one for the team and sacrifice for your people so they all don't starve.
That's pretty standard how it worked back then. Pretty standard medieval politics.
And her evil stepmother, who turns out to not be evil. She was actually
she wasn't evil, she was never portrayed as evil. Just
I'm saying
distance.
In fantasy stories, it's usually if someone's a stepmother, they're usually it's the old trope. They're the evil stepmother. Where in this one, she was actually a good lady and was like trying to like talk her out of this whole thing. She's like, I don't trust these fucking people. You should like, yeah.
That's because she was played by Angela Bassett, and she looked good. She looked good.
That's what I was getting to. I mean,
she's like immortal. That bitch is gonna live forever, and she looks good.
I mean, for a Netflix original, they've got some key cast. I mean, freaking 11 shows up in a ton of freaking Netflix produced stuff. Because I know, because they're like, all right, we've got you for the Stranger Things. As long as you're here, let's put you in 5 other movies. But they got freaking Angela Bassett and Robin Wright. I'm like, all right, yeah, y'all spent some money on it, and
I mean the look of the movie.
Yes,
you spent some money on it anyway. The special effects are good.
The dragon, when it finally shows up, and they kind of hide that for a while, where it's just fire and voice, but that's really the part where you're like your CGI can be like, all right, but the CGI and everything looked really good. I mean, they did a good job on the effects of this movie.
I'm pretty sure the voice of the dragon was a fairly big star too. I just can't remember now who it was.
Yeah, I know who it is, but I can't pronounce it.
Okay.
It's Shori Agdashalo maybe. She's a Middle Eastern actress. I can't remember where exactly from, but she's been in a few things. She's also, if you watched, because that's coming up soon, the new Ghostbusters, she was the voice of Gozer.
Yes, that's why I know that voice. That's right. Okay. I knew the voice sounded familiar, but I could not place it. But that's why I know that voice.
Yeah, I think she's done some Marvel stuff too, and she's been in a few things. But yeah, she was the voice of. You know who the body of Gozer was? Which I didn't. Olivia Wilde.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't realize that.
The new one, not.
Yeah, I'm talking about the new one. But yeah, I was just happy because when I was looking up, I'm like, I kind of had that thought too of like, I know that voice from something, and I was looking her up, and I'm like, oh, she was Gozer, and like a whole bunch of other things. But yeah, she's
a fairly prolific, at least voice actor, if nothing else, that I can that I've heard before.
I mean, she's got a couple Emmys, and she's Iranian. That's
okay.
where she's from.
I think it's Iranian, but no, that doesn't sound right. Maybe it is Iranian.
Yes.
I don't know. Need to get more well versed on my world culture a little bit, I guess.
Oh yeah, she was also in X-Men Last Stand. That's where I remember from. She was the doctor who invented the mutant cure.
Oh yeah, okay.
And the last of the original X-Men movies.
Yeah,
before
okay.
The newer ones.
God, that's why the voice sounds familiar. All right, okay. Yeah, I know. She's in a lot of things. Now I can picture her. I know exactly who she is. She's in a lot of things.
Yep. So, where were we? Yeah, so she shows up at the kingdom to get married, and I mean, they do have some nice dragon statues guarding the the bay.
Yeah, well.
Kind of reminded me of the Never-Ending Story.
The
They had to go through the gate.
Not Phoenixes.
Griffins.
Griffins, yes. I loved those. I'd like some of those in my yard. Those were cool. Maybe have to put a bra on them because nipples are not allowed. You know, we live in a snowflake world. And nipples are bad.
There's a few. Back when I was a police officer in patrolling, there was this one neighborhood. The guy had anatomically correct horse statues at the end of his driveway.
Hell yeah.
That were like raised up on their back legs with their
Yeah.
wings like on full display. You could use it as a hat rack when you came to visit.
Well, it's like the bull in New York or Chicago. The balls are a different color because everybody runs up and grabs them. The giant brass bull, whatever it is.
Is that the American version of the Blarney Stone? You got to come kiss the bull balls for good luck.
They don't know. If you want to kiss it, you be my guest. But I saw an article on that the other day. Actually, the balls are a completely different color because people keep touching the balls. But anyways, Never-Ending Story is where we were at. Yeah.
I saw another. There's another where there's like a...
They were anatomically correct griffins or whatever with
some
female
famous
breasts.
Graveyard that has a bronze statue of a dude in it, and like his junk is everything is tarnished except for the junk because everyone who comes to visit rubs his balls.
Well, cemeteries have a lot of stuff like that. Like some of the ones, there's one of them that has a dog, and I don't remember if it's for the dog or if it was the dog's owner's memorial. But the dog is completely smooth because everybody pets the dog when they go, and it's kind of like that Balto statue in New York. They have to keep redoing it because people keep petting it. But you know, it is what it is. Where the fuck did we go with this?
Welcome to the podcast. That's what we choose a topic.
Nipples.
And then a lot of the time
we started at nipples.
We don't get anywhere near the topic.
Which apparently means that Never-Ending Story is now a banned movie, or at least in schools or whatever, at least for fundamentalist or uptight households, because you're not allowed to watch Never-Ending Story anymore. Not only because of obvious nipples, but who fucking cares?
I mean, we used to watch Clash of the Titans in school because that was a historic movie, and there was some nudity in that.
Yeah. A lot of those, we watched a lot of movies about slavery, which is the one I'm thinking of.
Roots.
Possibly.
That's usually a one that's on the...
But there's full frontal nudity or breasts in there.
That's the thing. That was always weird because if it's from a culture that doesn't wear clothes, that's why. Because we always had National Geographic in the classroom, and those always had titties in them.
Yeah, a lot of African and Eastern tribes, or not Eastern. What is it? South Asian and stuff tribes don't wear shirts.
South Asian is like Vietnam.
Not South Asian.
Africa.
African and fucking Congo, like not
South
Congo,
American.
South American. Thank you. Good God, I'm lost today. I need to look at a fucking map. Apparently.
Buy you a globe next time I go to the thrift store.
I got two of my own. Anyways, this is your fault. You gave me this super powered cigar. I've just started on the coffee.
This is what happens if you're a lighter cigar smoker and you chase you smoke a Maduro and a coffee at the same time. That and like hell, we're both like half sick, so it's like, I'm surprised I can taste this at all. But yeah, I got to get something strong to cut through the sinus connection. That's why I sound like
it's not sick. It's
by the end of this episode, I'm gonna be sounding like Sam Elliott.
That doesn't sound like Sam Elliott. You sound like Sling Blade, but I was supposed to be Sling Blade and you were supposed to be Sam. You're fucking it up, man. You're fucking it up. I have a problem with you. Because I only know one fucking line and you were pulling off Sam Elliott just fine, but...
Well, and now I'm kind of Dirty Harry. I don't know. You gotta ask yourself, punk, you feeling lucky?
Not right now. I feel like I need a new partner here because you're...
Fine, I'll leave and Brad can fill in and y'all can go podcast.
We'll never get to the point of me and Brad doing a podcast together.
That's what I'm like, hey, I gotta be out of town this week. I need you to record the podcast, so you and Amanda come over and...
Hey, what do you mean come over? I live here.
I was talking to him, dum-dum. So, anyway, we're like 20 minutes in. We've
You
not even
better
gotten
watch
to
it. I could throw something at you from here, and I'm fairly certain it'll come close to hitting you. There's a lot of things over here.
You got the pointy things on your side of the table. I got the guns on my side of the table.
You're going to get pelted in the forehead with a Star Wars book and see what happens.
There's a throwing knife behind you. I mean, at least do something dangerous.
Where?
It's on the bookshelf behind you. There's throwing knives.
Oh.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway.
My office is dangerous is the point we're getting
nipples.
at.
Nipples and Dirty Harry, and I don't know where we went off track.
So, yes. They have her wedding day. Yeah, and how'd you like the medieval getting dressed montage? And now I know why princesses had ladies in waiting, because...
You can't put half that shit on by yourself.
It's like trying to get you dressed for a steampunk convention.
Yes, and mine aren't made of metal. That fucking underskirt that she had was metal or wood or something. That whole frame was, yeah.
It's bamboo.
Yeah, 16 fucking different layers of clothing and
the corsets with like actual steel
it's not steel,
or
it's
bone.
whalebone.
I don't know, because didn't she use it as a weapon at one point? I'm pretty sure that was like, it was metal.
No,
Somehow.
I don't think so. I must have to watch it again. I don't remember.
Yeah, so, after the wedding, they're like, oh, we have this ceremony we do up at the
Here's
the
the
cave.
part you're missing, though.
What?
You skipped over. Right, the first night she's there, when they arrive before the wedding, you see her out on the balcony, and her and this other girl on another balcony are like making eye contact, waving. That was the first bride. So he got both bitches there at once.
Well, yeah, because it was like, as they find out, as we get into a partial flashback, because we don't get the real story until later on, that supposedly when this kingdom originally started, the story given is that there is a dragon in the mountain, and it attacked the kingdom, and the king and his soldiers went to kill it, but failed, and the dragon's like, if you want to live, you have to sacrifice your 3 daughters to me, and like every generation, I expect 3 princesses for snacks.
Yeah.
Or I will destroy your kingdom. But otherwise, I'll let y'all live and prosper and mine
I've
gold
got a
and all
hankering
that other
for a
shit.
princess, and I want 3 of them. Thank you. Sour
So,
cream, salt and vinegar, and barbecue.
Fast forward to her wedding night. She sees the night before, saw the ceremony on the mountain, and it's like, oh, you're princess number 2. So they're like, oh yeah, we they tell her the story of the king having to sacrifice his 3 daughters to the dragon, and we do this ceremony to honor them. Here, we're gonna cut your hand and make you like blood brothers with your husband, and just toss this coin into the bottomless pit to represent the sacrifice. And then it's like, oh yeah, we're married now. I got to carry you across the threshold. And it's like, nope, I'm just chunking you in the deep so I can go get prepared for my 3rd wedding. How the fall didn't kill half the princesses.
How'd you survive falling through there? I mean, it was kind of forested and trees and
yeah,
stuff
I mean, she was hitting the
way down, but
hitting the roots and shit, and it slowed her descent to survivable measures, because like I said, this dragon's kind of vindictive, like she wakes up and finally she finds the burning bird. She's like, oh, what happened to you? Like, and then all of a sudden a whole damn like flock of like flaming
No, it's when she wakes up at the bottom of the ravine after they've tossed her over and she's looking around and like, that's not mine. That's not mine. That's not my crown. That's not my dress. Where the fuck did all this shit come from?
Yeah. She's like, shit. I'm not the I'm not the first.
Damn, there's like lots of girly shit laying down around here and I didn't bring it all with me.
He's like, that's not my crown. But yeah, when the first kind of reveal of like she makes it into the one cave and like all the flaming, was it birds or bats that came flying through on fire?
I don't know. I couldn't tell, but when you look at the map, you see that I'm not sure.
There was drawings of bats once they get to the map.
Yeah, I'm not sure if these were animals that are. This is how their life cycle goes, or if the dragon just like sets a flock of birds on fire and just does it for dramatic.
I'd say dramatic effect.
But obviously, the firebirds are more
because they didn't survive.
More common. Yeah, but obviously, it's happened every other time. You just happen to have a flock of birds in a cage. Oh shit! Princess is here. Here we go, guys. On stage.
I mean, it's a cave. It's probably full of bats.
So you just happen to have a random flock of bats hanging around. Every time they drop a princess, you can do.
Well, they do it. They said they do it generationally, so it's like probably every freaking 30, 40 years.
So the dragon's got a cage of bats in the back taking care of them.
It's a cave, and it's just like I'm not going to roast them until I until it's time to scare some princesses.
Okay.
But she runs in there. And she's like, run. She's like, the first one didn't last long enough. I wasn't entertained. Like this one's a smart one. You know?
Bitch, I'm not here for your entertainment.
Like I said, very serial killer vibe.
Well, I mean, if you live in a cave by yourself, eventually you get bored and you get a little nuts. So maybe, it's not so much about eating a princess. It's more about, I need something to entertain me. It's
like a cat playing with a mouse before it finally finishes it off.
They finish them off? Or ours don't. Usually. Either that or they finish them off, maybe no trace, and you never even knew they had one.
Until they leave a tail in the shower.
Ugh! God.
I thought it was a hairband until I went to pick it up.
Hey, just letting you know they did. Hey, I did my job. Here you go. Here's a trophy. I did my job. Anyway.
So yeah, she makes it through she's very like, well, before you see her like chopping wood and doing like manual stuff where they kind of allude to her intelligence before she ends up,
well,
in the cave.
Further down the line, nobility is not necessarily going to be well off, so they're not going to be, pretty princess in the tower. It's work and stuff and...
Yeah, she like immediately kind of like wakes up and like, all right, let's take stock of what I got. Here, let me light this incense or burner thing to use as a lantern. And
I think it was like, all right.
There's some kind of decorative piece of gold that I can sharpen up to use as a blade.
Well, the gold was like an actual, like, it was what held her corset together in the front. The ornamental one, not the original.
Like a kilt pin.
Yeah, it's not the initial corset that goes on underneath all the layers, but the overcoat corset was ornamental, and that's what was holding it together in the front.
But it was a decorative dagger, not a functional dagger. But then she like starts sharpening it up, making a medieval shiv.
Yeah.
Because like I'm dropped in a cave by a bunch of weird serial killer family. Apparently, she doesn't know there's a dragon yet. She's like, oh, maybe these fuckers are just like.
But the incense thing, that's actually real. That's
yeah, because people stank in medieval times.
Because they didn't bathe because you couldn't haul water, and if you did haul water,
there was also no plumbing.
Good chance you're going to freeze and die before you dry. So
people just shit in buckets and chunked it out the wall, or they shit in the medieval toilets that just
Chamber
basically.
pot.
Well, they had the poopers that were on the wall of the castle, and it would just open up to the outside.
But yeah, if you actually got wet and you were a woman and you had the long hair and whatever, and you wet your hair, there's a chance you were going to catch your death of cold before you dried. So.
Do you know that?
But that's what the incense thing was for, was to keep.
This is a weird historical fact I came across the other day. The use of the toilet was delayed for like 100 years because of the Queen of England.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because apparently some relative of the Queen at the time invented the toilet, but he also wrote a bunch of shit about the Queen and pissed her off, so she basically bought the toilet, like had the toilet installed in her castle, and then refused to let anyone else use the technology and destroyed, like, you know, all the paperwork on it or whatever. So yeah, the queen was shitting in internal plumbing like way before the rest of the world.
Well, yeah.
Just out of spite.
Well, yeah, but that's...
I like your invention, but I'm going to make sure I ruin you, and you don't get to sell your shitters to anyone.
You don't get to tell everyone I'm a shriveled up old shrew. You say that now, you're going to live the rest of your life out in the Tower of England and die. With rats as friends. It's fine.
I wonder if he named it Ratatouille.
No.
John. After his invention.
There you go. Porteous El Crapper.
Porteous.
Yes, Porteous.
All right.
You liked that, did you? You like
Porteous.
that? I
Yes.
thought so.
Oh.
I'm pretty fucking bright and creative when I want to be. Right now, I feel like I'm firing on too many cylinders.
Yeah, and she finds the glowworm cave, and she's like, all right, well, here's a light source that doesn't require refueling. But then she finds out that they got...
Well, she falls asleep, and after she's already been burned because she was running from the dragon, and then wakes up and like, wait a minute.
She's like, oh my god, I'm covered in these glowworms. Ooh. Like, oh, wait a minute, their
saliva, or their excretions
slime
is
Neosporin, apparently. Yep. Super Neosporin, because it instantly heals.
Yeah.
It's like some Wolverine healing factor shit.
Yep. But it works. I mean, all that matters is that it works.
Yeah, that where she finds like the ice cave and it's like dripping. She's like, oh, this water that's in a puddle is all nasty. Let me like drink fresh from the melting ice. And then you see it like turning orange. I'm like, you should move. You should move.
Yeah, that was not my favorite moment. Just seeing her standing there and her head's thrown back and her eyes are closed and like, okay, you're not asleep. You're still aware. So if there's a light change to that degree around you, come on now. You're going to look up and find out. Sense of self-preservation should have kicked in somewhere a little earlier than that. But, you know, that's not good cinema, so whatever.
Well, there's the other big plot hole that I think occurs like right after this, where she, you know, manages to get away from the dragon and ends up in like a room that's just too small for her to get in there. So it's like, oh, this is a safe spot. And she finds like the bodies of a couple of the princesses that basically got to the safe spot and like just didn't leave and probably starved to death
eventually.
And there's a name of all the girls through the generations that had been sacrificed. And she kind of gets, I don't know if you've seen the movie Black Telephone, where she's like getting, I guess, like visions of the previous victims and seeing what they were doing. And there's like, you know, names of everybody on the wall, and there's a whole map of the cave. And I'm like, all right, I can get the people who found the cave drawing a map, but what about the exit routes? I'm like, if those motherfuckers didn't make it back, like, who finished the map?
Yeah.
Did one of them make it all the way to the... Because, like, she sees what looks to be a route out, and she gets there, and there's just basically a crystal cave, but she finds another crown and uses that crown
which was cool.
To grab the crystals without cutting to get all the way up to this port. And turns out it's like just a hole on the side of the mountain. There's no actual way out.
Sheer drop off. There's nowhere to go.
And then the dragon shows up from the outside, and she notices written on the wall, "Not safe." I'm like, all right, cool. But if homegirl there, whose crown was left behind, got 8 at this point, who the fuck went back and finished the map?
She may not have gotten 8 at that point. She may have gone back, finished the map, and then tried something else. And you never see the next route she tried to take because she died.
But if she made it back, why did she not write, "This one not safe"?
Because
she wrote it at the window. She didn't write it in the cave. So I'm like,
yeah, but that's not the first time she did that. It's not so much this is a safe place. It's more like, okay, she can't reach you this far in. From this point on, it's like drawing a yellow line on the floor. Behind this line, that bitch can't reach you.
But yeah, it's like, that was the part that was like, I don't know about all this.
Well, you know, not all the princesses were fighters, but some of them might have been, you know, smart. And
she's like, I'm going to bail on this, and I ain't climbing that fucking shaft. But she
Some
has
of them may have gone back to die, but they may have, gotten enough, fired up enough and to create some kind of sense of self or some kind of preservation for the next girls. Anyway.
Suspension of disbelief. But yeah, to me, I'm like, who the fuck drew the map?
Well, I'm assuming it was one of them bitches that signed her name on the wall. Since, hypothetically, nobody else is in there. However, you get later, and the dad has hired a guide to get him in there. The guide knows where he's going, so...
I already knows where the cave is, at least.
Yeah. He knows how to get in there, because he's already told Father, yeah, I can take you to the creature's lair, and blah, 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 so...
Yeah, because eventually Daddy feels guilty, or he told Stepmom what was really going on, and she badged him to the point like, you motherfucker, you go back and get her. Because, you don't say no to Angela Bassett.
No. No.
So, yeah. Or he's like, well, I've already got my gold. All right, now let's go try to rescue her. So, yeah,
I mean, Dad was kind of in a desperate spot. I don't think he, wanted to trade his daughter's life. I don't know if he necessarily knew the whole story to begin with.
I don't think he did until he has the negotiation meeting with the actual queen and king there. And when he comes out, he's kind of like, yeah, I got enough. And I'm like, at that point, I think he's been clued in on to what's about to go down.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But obviously, none of the other princesses' dads tried to come rescue them because there's not bodies of dads and guides laying everywhere. So,
well, I mean, Dragon might have ate a couple of them.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, not like she didn't eat a whole lot of them. She just freaking roasted them. But hell, there's probably other creatures in that cave
scavengers to eat the leftovers.
Yeah. But yeah, she sees her dad trying to make it back after she figures out her path isn't going to work, and yeah, as we've seen with the previous flashback of the first king, you should have brought more guys.
Shouldn't have fucked around and found out in the first place, and then we would all been fine. Because I'm telling you, that dragon lived there a long ass time, just pulling a couple of sheep or cows out of the field, taking what they needed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the lifespan of a dragon is, but it says from that first kind of encounter till centuries later. Yeah. So
she's there trying to tend her nest and get her eggs ready to hatch, and she probably didn't come fucking around in the first place. They just went to go find her to fuck around.
So then that's the additional flashback we get is when she's further exploring, she finds the cave with the bodies of dead baby dragons. And at that point we find out that this king, did not attack the dragon out of revenge. He just, hey, there's a dragon, we should kill it.
He went hunting for her.
And went in there and found its babies and killed the babies before his army got taken out. And then that was the reason why the dragon's like, you must sacrifice, you killed 3 of mine, you send me 3 of yours, and I'll let,
You killed my 3 daughters because dragons hypothetically, or at least
and I'm
in
gonna
some
keep
things of lore, are all female.
Eating royal princesses until your bloodline is no more. And they came up with the con of like, we'll put a little bit of our blood in these random girls that we can then feed to the dragon.
So now they smell like royalty.
And she tries to tell her, hey, it's all lies. They've been scamming you. And she's like, no, I can smell your royal blood. Just y'all are.
Here's the joke. It's not mine. It's not my blood you're smelling. It's theirs.
But while Dragon is, because eventually Dragon captures Daddy and like tries to, all right, you're gonna be my bait. Call her out, and he's like, listen to me. I'm sorry I did this, and I'm your father, but I'm ordering you, do not come out.
Go, run, hide, bitch. Get out of here. Take the ropes and get out.
She squishes Daddy and goes to eat the guide, and
she uses a claw can opener on Daddy. Is what we did. We can opened him from the middle.
But Elodie actually uses this to escape and hide from the dragon as the dragon's getting pissed off and raining fire around the mountain. So the queen is like,
fuck, didn't work.
She's like, well, we still got another girl. I'll handle this if you men can't manage to kill
the
one
men
little
don't
princess.
handle shit in this movie. The king never speaks, not once, for one. They may not even be king. They may be her consort, because he may not even be king. But her son is the most pansified snowflake little bitch. Just, I know, maybe I don't want to, I don't know, I don't like this. Go fucking sit down, dude.
Let mommy handle it. So yeah, she goes and gets Elodie's sister, who's because they're still waiting at the bay in the ship to hopefully escape, and do a rush job wedding on her and toss her into make up for. So then the dragon is like, well, I'll just use the sister as bait.
How'd the dragon know it was her sister?
Well, if she can smell her blood, I guess she could smell the relation.
Yes, but she could smell the blood to the point knowing that there was royal in it. She not necessarily could smell the blood enough to know that wait a minute, the concentration of this is super, super tiny.
Again, suspension of disbelief. You just gotta go with it. The dragon's smart. She's just, mad with vengeance. So she's like, all right, I'm going to go save my sister. And she gets all warrior nunned up and goes back to the cave and finds her daddy's sword.
Come on, bitch, let's dance. Which sucks. I mean, yeah, it sucks. Because, yes, all these girls need to be avenged because Dragon didn't do this, first of all. And it also sucks because the dragon's pissed off and she wants to eat girls. Well, that's not correct because a girl didn't do nothing to you. You fucking king did. However, it's also last of her bloodline. Last of her children were killed. So she's the last of her kind. I mean, it's like, everybody has motivation here.
Yeah, she manages to sneak up on her and get the sword at her eye. She's like, that won't kill me. And she's like, yeah, but it'll piss you off. And she's like, you're gonna die here alone. We both are. And she's like, I'm not alone. I have the spirit of all the people innocent girls you've killed before me. And she's like, yeah, they weren't innocent.
And like, yeah, actually.
You've been lied to, and tries to tell her the truth, but she don't want to hear it. She's like, no, all you royals are fucking liars. So she notices like this. She stabs her in the eye and cuts her up a little bit and gets her in the mouth with the sword, and she notices this little kind of
banked area where
it lips. She's like the smoke kind of roiling back. So she's like, all right, fine, get it over with, fucking kill me, And so when she blows the fire, she like sidesteps that shit and ends up roasting herself.
Which is also another one of those where like you said, you got to suspend belief because hypothetically, a dragon's fire can't harm that dragon. Hey, it's just a thing. It's just part of the mythology. Dragon's fire doesn't harm their self.
Maybe internally, but externally it might.
Make fucking sense for me.
The fire doesn't ignite until it gets to the mouth area.
Okay, whatever.
Like it's a flammable chemical that's mixed in the gut, and then somehow it ignites as it's leaving the mouth. So the mouth may be a fireproof material, but then
anyway, bitch starts looking like one of the Terminator or the T-1000 when he starts dripping.
So it's like now she's like, all right, so hey, look at this scratch here. Like my sister, you've seen her, she's got the same scratch. This is where they put their blood in it. They've conned you. So you've not been killing princesses, you've been killing random innocent girls like your kids. Yep. So you're just like they are. And she's like, all right, well then fucking finish me off. And she's like, nope, I'm gonna heal you because now you've heard the truth. I'm gonna throw these magic slugs on you and we're going to go take care of the real bad people in this story.
Yep. Go get that fucking queen off with her fucking head.
But yeah, like, cut to wedding number 3. And that's just the most badass entrance. You see, like, the sacrificial coin that they made her throw and the thing come, like, rolling across the floor. And they're like, where'd that come from? And then she comes, like, walking in all bloody and badass.
Yeah.
And it's like, just goes up to the girls like, take your family and run.
Go. Just leave.
And she's like, yeah. And then she looks around. She's like, and the rest of y'all, if anybody wants to leave, now would be the time.
This is your option to go.
A few of the villagers is like, yeah, we out.
We didn't do nothing. We had nothing to do with this.
And,
above my fucking pay grade. I'm
fucking leaving. Weasley Prince is like, hey, I just got to sacrifice one more girl and I'm free to marry whoever for real. And she's like, no, homie, that ain't going to happen. And the queen's like, should we just be scared of you because you escaped the dragon? She's like, oh, no. You shouldn't be scared of me. But my buddy here. And that's when, like, Dragon's like, hey, fuckers. I'm here to end your bloodline.
The equivalent of, like, your pet raven coming to land on your shoulder, except in this case you got, different your perspective because she's small and Dragon is big. But just look over her shoulder and there's a fucking dragon perched on the castle wall. It's like, not me. That one right there. You fucked her up all these years and you get to deal with her now.
She's like, go for it. And then we have the, she does the cool action thing, because if you know, there's a trope in all action films that heroes don't look at explosions.
Oh, no.
They always walk away as shit's blowing up. You never turn back to look at the explosion. So you get her, like, walking out of the castle as the castle is, like, burning to the fucking ground. I'm like, she did the thing.
Which is stupid because
in fact, there's a whole song from one of the MTV Movie Awards where it's like, cool guys don't look at explosions.
Oh yeah, something like that.
They just blow shit up and walk away.
We don't know if we're out of the blast radius. Fuck it. It's 1,000 degrees because of all the fire, but fuck it. I'm just gonna walk away unsinged.
Maybe take a basket of worms with you back to your kingdom.
Yeah. Well, apparently they got the money because somehow, some way they managed to hold on to the money because they said, oh yeah, we're going home. We got plenty of supplies. We got plenty of money. We're good. Fucking go back and loot that kingdom as soon as the fire goes out.
I mean, gold doesn't burn. It just melts. You just gotta go.
Royal treasury. Found it. Got it. We're going to take all of this home.
Yeah. I mean, they already had, like, the original payment.
Yeah.
Food and stuff's probably in storage warehouses outside of the castle itself.
Yeah, if you want to be technical, it would have been stored under the castle.
I mean, they just had fields and fields of, like, I don't know, like, some of them look like wine, like grape fields and
yeah, but that's how tenants paid fealty to the royal house. So they paid in food and stuff like that, so that would have been stored. There would have been storage under the castle.
So even the people that, lived around the castle that didn't get eaten, like, they'd be like, yeah, cool, here's your payment from freeing us from these weird fuckers.
Those guys over there, those guys in particular. Fuck those guys in particular.
But then, she's like, where are we going? Let's go home. And then, of course, they invited Dragon to, you can come hang out at our kingdom and be our friend.
Well, I mean, there was nothing left for her at that point. I mean, her babies are already dead, and she finds out that
her vengeance.
She sealed herself into a tomb of her own victims. It's like, yeah, no, it's over now. Might as well go find somewhere else to go make a life.
I mean, she forgave the dragon for killing her father awfully quickly, but then again, you're like, Daddy was an asshole.
Dad was an ass.
He had to get me sacrificed, so all right, I'll give you that one, Dragon. We're cool. We're even.
It's how women work. That's why, a woman getting cheated on by her boyfriend, eventually her and the other woman can become lifelong besties afterwards. It's like, no, we've been through the same trauma. We're good.
We both hate the same motherfuckers.
We both hate the same motherfuckers.
We're friends now.
You fucking bastard. We will evolve and bond over this and become lifelong besties from this.
Yeah. She becomes the new Khaleesi.
Pretty much.
Mother of dragons.
Yeah, well, she wasn't on the dragon's back. That's a difference.
I'm surprised she didn't fly in on the dragon.
That would have been funny, but
then again, she got the hell out of that mountain pretty quickly, so she might have gotten a lift back to the castle for, like, hey, don't fly in with me. Drop me outside the castle because I want to walk in for dramatic effect.
I've got to walk in and monologue because that's what we do. I have a monologue prepared.
It's like, hey, I know there's no more, like, male dragons around, but I'm also friends with Godzilla, so I could, like, introduce you guys. That's like the next Godzilla movie, Godzilla and the freaking medieval dragon.
I mean, what do you do after centuries and centuries of living in this dark cave with the corpses of your offspring? And she never even moved them. It's not like she buried the babies. They were staying right there, exactly where they had been stabbed, and that's where they stayed. You can only live in a mausoleum for so long.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be getting any more sacrificial snacks, so.
Yeah, well, that's true. We're not gonna get fed on a regular basis. We might have to go hunt. Which is the whole fucking thing to begin with. The king, the original king, had just been like, nope, she's taking her share. Leave that bitch alone. We're not gonna go mess with her. She's not gonna mess with us. We're cool.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You take your fucking few sheep or
We
few
grow some
cows.
sheep or some cows, and we.
This is your fucking land. You've been here a lot longer than we are, so you can go get what you want of it, and we'll take what's left.
But like I said, other than the few kind of plot holes here and there,
You're a plot hole.
Overall, it was.
I thought it was a good movie. I would. I wish it had gone on longer. I mean, but that's what happens with good movies. I want to see more.
And I'm, a fan of horror, so I liked it wasn't just a fantasy swords and sorcerers type movie, which I don't really like that genre of film much, with a few exceptions. But this was like,
some degree, but...
like I said, had that kind of horror elements to it, and then it also had like these kind of hero's journey elements to it, of her going from...
And I'm woman enough to admit that I like it that the villain was a woman and the hero's a woman. Fuck that. We don't need no prince to come fucking rescue us. We're gonna...
die hard in a cave.
Shut up!
With
No.
Hans Gruber as a dragon.
No! No, Hans Gruber was evil. The dragon was...
Mistaken.
Chaotic neutral? Or maybe just neutral, because you're fucking centuries old... gigantic animal. You have the right to try to feed yourself. So don't fuck around where you shouldn't fuck around, and you won't have any problem. Leave the bitch alone. She's got her babies, she's got her cave. Leave the bitch alone.
You old fornicate around and find out.
Exactly. Go ingest a satchel of Richards. Leave that bitch alone. She's happy where she's at. She was here first, but then again, we know what happens to people that were here first.
And poor horse though.
Yeah,
that tried to escape on the horse.
That horse didn't. That was the only innocent victim. Well, one of the innocent victims in this, because that horse didn't do shit. I was like, I'm just gonna go. But then again, it's a horse, which is a prey animal for a dragon, I would assume.
I don't know. Was this dragon a vegetarian? She didn't eat a whole lot of people. She just roasted them and killed them.
Well, you're centuries and centuries old. Maybe you don't need to eat.
She got a slow metabolism. She just snacks on a couple glowworms occasionally, and that's how she lives forever.
Well, I don't know if they were necessarily technically immortal, but centuries and centuries later, semi-immortal. You're only vulnerable when you're small enough for somebody to...
I mean, they should have called in a Witcher.
A Witcher would have saved the babies.
Yep.
Wisher would have gone in there and beat the king's ass and saved the babies, because...
Maybe she'll meet the old man that was secretly a gold dragon shapeshifter.
There you go.
That's the sequel. They tie it into the into the Witcher universe.
Yeah, but then you get into the rules of, like I said, how long does a dragon's lifespan? How long can it actually live if it's left to fuck alone? How many times can... Okay, again, like I said, if you go back into some of the mythologies, all dragons are female, so they can all lay eggs and have babies on their own. They don't necessarily need another... Even in, like, Game of Thrones, those dragons, all technically female or non-female, could produce their own children.
Well, chickens lay eggs, but you have to have a male to fertilize the eggs, or you just get eggs without
Yes, but in a lot of different types of dragon mythology, you don't have to have them to fertilize. It's just... they don't have to be fertilized.
Well, even like amphibious species can, if there's not enough of one sex they can actually switch.
Yeah, the frogs and stuff like that.
Sex. So maybe she can fertilize her own eggs.
Like the reigning theory at the end of Game of Thrones is that one of the dragons survived and went off and laid eggs because it had its own, or one of the dragons was gone part of the time because it went off and had it young. But I don't know. I guess there's specific conditions under which dragons have young. Anyway, I'm going into, cryptid biology here. And it's just like,
And then there's
a rabbit hole. There's a rabbit hole.
That's what this movie needed. The rabbit from Monty Python.
No. No.
That's what they needed, the holy hand grenade. That's what they needed to slay the dragon. They should have brought a holy hand grenade.
We should have left the dragon the fuck alone. We weren't trying to slay the dragon. We're trying to slay the evil blonde bitch queen. Fuck the dragon. The dragon's fine. You don't have to be a good creature to be a good creature.
In this movie, we didn't have an evil stepmother. We had an evil mother-in-law.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of pretty par for the course, too, but not for me. My mother-in-law loves me. I have a wonderful mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law.
So as we kind of wrap this up...
Her son gets on my fucking nerves sometimes, but I love my mother-in-law.
Well, that's my job.
True.
If I didn't annoy you, you'd be bored.
That's true.
So what do you think of this here cigar? I know it's a lot stronger than your normal smokes. Did you pick up any of those tasting notes we discussed?
Mostly just the hazelnut. Mostly just the sweet from the hazelnut, which is white. But like I said, I'm also drinking Black Rifle over here, so it's like... It may be that I can't taste anything.
Well, it depends on, like, if you're drinking a strong flavored thing, you want a strong cigar so they don't, it doesn't, like, overpower it. So this one would be a good whiskey cigar because it's got enough kick to cut through a good bourbon taste and pair instead of being overpowered. And it's not a big cigar, so it's a nice hour smoke. It's not as, like, the 660s I normally smoke, so if you've only got an hour of time, this is definitely one that's gonna be good enough to keep your interest, and also it's not
you couldn't
hugely
do an hour
priced.
Smoke if your life depended on it. We have tried that; it doesn't work.
Because it's not a cigarette. You're supposed to enjoy it, not to suck it down.
Yes, but sometimes there's a time crunch issue where it's you have X amount of time and you just can't smoke something small. That's a you problem.
Because I make the time to enjoy myself. But this is like I think it was like $8.70, so it's not a super expensive cigar if you want to try one. We pick these up at the cigar shop, so if you're in the Cumming area, go check them out. It's where I get most of our review cigars.
For cigars in general.
So any final thoughts on this here movie?
Like I said, I wanted more. I wanted more of it. So that's probably about the highest
so do you think
marking I can give for a movie is I want to see more of this world you've created.
Well, some of these Netflix movies are a one and done, and some get a sequel. Do you think there's enough untold story to continue these characters on? Do we see her now as a queen with her pet dragon and
technically
them having to fight off some kind of
queen,
invaders?
Because technically she did marry a prince. Even if the kingdom no longer exists, technically she is a queen now. Because the kingdom she married into no longer exists. And her mother the queen was killed. So technically she did ascend to becoming queen because also the prince was killed. Otherwise she'd just be queen consort. But...
So yeah, do we have... eventually have a story of her and her dragon going on some other adventure defending her kingdom from invaders or whatnot? Or do we find out that this kingdom had some distant relatives that show up pissed off because you killed our cousins and now they have to defend it?
I can't come up with a reasonable enough to make a whole nother movie, but I'm not in screenwriting, so... And Millie Bobby Brown is very popular. And Angela Bassett can get anything she wants done anywhere at any time with a word because that is the queen mother to all of us.
And then we have...
all hail Angela Bassett. Yeah,
they're working on the final season of Stranger Things now, so she's going to have more time coming up to do other things. Or do we get, season 3 of Enola Holmes?
That's fine, too. I like that one,
not
too.
season 3, movie 3. That's movie,
fine,
not
too.
A series. Yeah, so if you got a night to check out, and like I said, this is on Netflix, so you don't have to go out to see it. Check it out. Hit the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Did it suck? Was it cool? Do you want another one?
I want another one, but I don't know how they come up with that. But I'm not a screenwriter.
And if you are checking us out on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell other people to subscribe to this if you want to see not just hear us talk shit, but actually see us talk shit. And also on our YouTube channel, I do some other random content. Just posted last week a Tactical Tuesday video going over vehicle loadouts and go bags and whatnot. Probably shoot another one of those videos this week. But that's all I got for you here on this. We'll be right back with some science.
And you've been watching the Cigar Nerds podcast. Check us out on cigarnerdpodcast.com
and on the ESO Network, esonetwork.com. And don't forget, smoke them if you got them. Like, comment, and subscribe.